Eagle, go for landing, over. Roger, understand, go for landing. Eagle looking great. Houston, the Eagle has landed.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I'm Graham Nolan. I am a 41-year veteran of the comic book industry. I've been at it a long time, and I can tell you honestly, I've never been happier in this business than what I'm doing right now, and that is independent comics, crowdfunding, and being part of and discovering this wonderful, wonderful CG family. There's a lot of discourse going on X about late shipments, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I've had a lot of experience, obviously, in this industry, and I feel for the backers. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about definitions. First off, we have customers. Customers are very different. Customers are people that buy a product that's already pre-existing based on their interest in it. If they like it, maybe they'll come back. If they don't, they'll move on and buy something else. A backer is something very different and very special in my eyes. A backer is somebody who is saying, I trust you. I believe in you. I believe in your idea. We don't even have the product done. That's the whole point of crowdfunding, is to finance it, keep the lights on, keep food in the belly, and the wife and kids fed while we work on it, because this is a labor-intensive business of creating stories and visual art. And the backers allow us to do that, and we enter into a contract with them. Sort of, it's not a legal contract, but it is a contract of trust to produce this product that you have got them interested in, that they are willing to give their hard-earned money and tie it up when they have other things they could be using it for, while you produce the product, and hopefully when it's delivered, they are very happy with it, and they see the love that went into it, and then they'll come back and back other ones. But a lot of times creators without a lot of experience, and even some with, they don't seem to understand or are able to honestly assess their own abilities as far as getting stuff done. Now, there's a lot that goes into what we do now, because like right now, I am not at the board drawing because I'm streaming on YouTube. It's an important element and component of the crowdfunding model, and it needs to be done. So if you take all that into consideration, that you're wearing all these other hats, you have to be honest with yourself when you create your campaign. And like Indiegogo and Kickstarter, they'll ask you for an estimated delivery date, so you have to be honest with your own skills and speed and your ability to deliver the amount of pages that you need. I noticed some people were saying, lateness is okay, as long as it's, a great book. The artwork is great. And that's all true. We're willing to forgive for some of that. I mean, nobody remembers that Neil Adams never made any deadlines, or very, very few deadlines. But we all remember how great his art was. But that's the other thing we have to remember. Some of the greatest art in comics are the ones we remember from when we were on a monthly periodical deadline chart. Time does not always equate with quality. I know a lot of guys in this business that are freaking amazing, and they're fast, and they can't make a deadline because they're too busy screwing around. They don't have focus. They're playing video games, and they can't make their deadlines, and that's a problem. So the amount of time does not necessarily equate with the quality. But having said that, having extra time and not being on a monthly thing does allow people who do know what their speed level is to go in and do the best work that they've ever done. I'm going to speak for myself because I was in the monthly grind for many years, and you develop a style that can move the project and move the pages along quickly. But this allows me, this extra time allows me to explore other things, put maybe some more details in, reference something a little bit more, just that little bit of extra time, which is really great. When you're late, well, let me just back up a second here and say that once you do have an idea of how long it's going to take you, you have to remember the whole idea of crowdfunding is not to have a book done and then put it up into a campaign. That is not crowdfunding. That's you're selling on the internet. Crowdfunding, when I start my crowdfunding projects, I usually have maybe 10 pages done. That's it. Just enough to build the assets for the project itself, and to pitch it and to sell it, and to when I say sell it, I mean to present it to the backers, and try to get them interested in it. And I don't have the whole book done. I don't even have half the book done. It's getting the money in from the crowdfunding. That's when I roll up the sleeves and get into it and get into the heavy lifting, so to speak, and get the work done. And that's what crowdfunding allows you to do. So if you're a younger guy, or you're starting out and you're thinking of doing the crowdfunding, and for some of the older guys too, that when you're putting your campaign together and they're asking you for that estimated delivery date, please remember that your backers are counting on you. So they're willing to forgive. I mean, if you say that this project that now I've gotten you so interested in is going to take me a year, 2 years to do, and you're honest and you put that in and say delivery in 2026, okay, they've entered into that. They understand that 2026 is when it's come. But when 2026 comes, be damn well ready, have it done. Most people don't need that much time, So the point is that backers are forgive you if it takes a long time. But if you say it's going to take me 6 months and it's 2 years, that's a problem. That's a problem. And what it does is it erodes the trust in backers into crowdfunding in general. And I've read so many people online have said that I'm out. I've been burned too many times. I'm not coming back. And that affects me. And that affects other guys that get the work done on time and still produce quality work. It's really all about being honest with yourself. I mean, nobody is doing this. I don't think anybody is doing this maliciously or deliberately. I think they're just, they're in over their heads. Sometimes things come up. And I know one of the things that I try to do with Compass Comics is constantly communicate with my backers that, when stuff is running late, like, for instance, the Ghost of Matacumba Key, that was supposed to fulfill in August. But as I got into it, I realized that I really should have had Joe Frankenstein 1 and 2 out before this. So I shoehorned those 2 campaigns in ahead, which pushed me back. And now I'm going to be fulfilling that at the end of January. So what is that? August, September, October, November, December, January. So I'm 5 months late on that one. But my backers know why. And I think that's very important is communicate with your backers if you've got a problem. If there's a family emergency, a health issue, supply chain issue, these things do come up. And when you're sort of a one-man show, you have to accept that. And it's really, really important to relay that information, because 99 out of 100 backers are completely understand. They like the communication. You're upfront, and then when they get the books, God willing, they're going to love them. So, well, I got a couple super chats I need to hit here. Hold on a second here. Hey, Az, thank you so much for 20 sterling, 20 pounds sterling. Much appreciated, my friend. Philly Humor. Graham, at least give a weekly update to your backers. Oh, you at least give a weekly update to your backers. That gives your backers a sense of security when backing your projects. Love your books. Thank you, Philly Humor. That is much appreciated as well. It's really, really important because, I've backed a lot of projects and have completely forgotten about them sometimes. And then I'll go into my Indiegogo list and say, my campaigns, the things that I've backed. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. What happened to that? Because there's no updates, and it goes out of sight, out of mind. And then I realize, well, shit, this is taking an awful long time. This is way past the date. That hasn't happened very often, but it has happened a few times. So really, this is all about understanding yourself, being honest with your abilities, communicating with your backers, and delivering the product when it needs to be delivered. You handle that stuff, and your backers will come back, and that's what you want. You want return backers, and you want to keep building that backer list and bring in new people. But when people are shipping stuff late and sour on crowdfunding, they're not going to pick up my book. They're not going to pick up Aaron's book or any of the other guys that we know that deliver on time and deliver quality. And so that is a problem. So the reason I wanted to do this stream was to get that out there, and for anybody that was on the fence or even has crossed over to the other side of the fence and has said, that's it, I'm not doing crowdfunding anymore, to maybe instill some hope into you that, it's like you go to a restaurant and you have a bad meal. You don't stop going to restaurants. You just stop going to that one. And that's the kind of thing I want to just point out here, is that there's still a lot of great stuff out there by guys that are busting their ass and they're doing the right things, and they're communicating and producing great quality stuff. All those things are important in having your audience return to you. And oh wow, we had like 300 people watching the stream. Hey guys, while you're here, hit that like button for me, will you? It helped my algorithms. I got a couple more super chats here. I'll be honest, one unintentional side effect of backing so many projects is that I forget. And so if it's delayed, I never really know, often surprised when it finally arrives. It's better if you know. Comics in Cahoots, thank you for the $1.99. I pay for quality and wait for what is worthy. Well, that's great. It is worth the wait. I mean, because none of these things come out immediately. It takes time to create it from the time you back it. Typically, it's 6 months to a year before the project comes out. If it's a thicker book. If we were producing the floppies, it wouldn't be such a big deal. You can because of the page count, you'd be able to turn them over faster per year. But we're dealing with 64 pages, 72 pages, 80 sometimes. Like Two Fisted Manly Tales was 110 pages. It's about quality and giving the backers value for their investment. And that's what it is. They're investing in you, they're investing in your product, and they're trusting you with their money. And I can't thank all of you guys enough for that. Alpha Suma for $50. That is a damn good cigar, sir. A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Which do you want to be? Disney delivers often. People love them. Oh, wait. Well, yeah, no, everybody wants quality. But quality isn't always adjacent to the amount of time it takes. As I mentioned earlier, um, you know, some great comics were produced under the 30-day deadlines. Um, so, it's up to the backers to whatever their tolerance is, for waiting. If you're willing to give somebody, a year or two grace from the time they said they were going to deliver, that's on you. That's fine. That's great. God bless you. Um, and I don't want people to think that I'm out here criticizing others and how they do their business, other than to say that poor service reflects on all of us and has, because it's a small community, and we want to grow it. People are flying off the Marvel and DC bandwagon. Where are they going to land? Well, I want them to land here. I want them to be comfortable when they come here. I want them to be secure and know that their investment is worth it, and that they are going to get the best comics out there, the best entertainment out there, and it'll be done on time. That's my motto, and the way I run Compass Comics in my business. Eric DeGuapo, thank you for that $5. I've been burned by so many creators. I went from backing 2 to 3 projects a month to 3 campaigns a year. You, Rini, and Rocafort are the ones. Well, I'm glad I made the cut, Eric. And I'm sorry you got burned. But there is, as I said, many other really good and reliable people out there. And if you'll forgive my restaurant metaphor, don't give up on eating out if you get a bad meal at one place. There's still others to go. So let's see who's in the chat here. Oh, geez, I got another NRG Comics, $50. Thank you, sir. That's another good cigar. Managing expectations plus open communication is key, but you also have to deliver. Graham, you always deliver action, adventure, and a great story. Fortunately, some who brag about delivering on time only delivered something mediocre. That happens. Not everything's going to be a hit, and everybody has different tastes. You just want it to be quality. You want it to have heart, and not look like the rushed or unthought out piece of junk. If you want that, we can go to Marvel and DC for that. Brass Monkey for $10. Thank you. Really excited for the Return to Monster Island book. I enjoyed the first one very much. Thank you, sir. Pinned to the top here, guys, if you haven't signed up, is the sign up sheet for Return to Monster Island. That'll be launching in February, and I'm looking at a July delivery for that one. The reason that book is already done, and I want to get it out before the new one comes out, which is Escape from Monster Island. That's the one that I'll actually be drawing and working on between now and when that one launches. So because of printing, now I'm already going to tell you it's going to be a little later, but only because I know ahead of time that my printer gets backed up within certain months. So it looks like, even if we launch it in February and the files are ready to go, it probably won't arrive to me until July. But that's not that bad, so you'll have some great summer reading when you read Return to Monster Island. So let me say hello to some folks here. We got a lot of people in the chat here. Just make sure I didn't miss any of these super chats here. No, I'm good. All right. Oh, Marcus Kellegrew, Dr. Mask, Henry Bemis, Jasper Plan 9, Demonic Rebellion, Blue Boy Comics, Fat Samurai, Skip Edwards, Chris Thacker, Gerald Lang. It's not important. That's actually his name. Dan Genovese. Let's see if there's anything else in here. That I've found. Dennis Shoemate is here. Hi, Dennis. Oh, by the way, just received DG Chichester's new book that you showcased a few months ago, and it's gorgeous. Nice recommendation. Excellent, excellent. Dan's a great writer. I'm glad you guys that you enjoyed that. Chris Thacker, communication is the key, Graham. Absolutely, it is. Absolutely, it is. As I said, there's a lot of sins will get forgiven if you'll just be honest and upfront with everybody, and just give them, even if it's going to be late. The other thing you can do in your updates is tell them what you did that week. You know, they want you to be working on it, even if it's taking you longer. You know, give them a snippet. You know, say, hey, you know, I got a page inked last week, and here's a snippet of it. Or I contacted, or I had my local printer just got done with all the stretch goal printing, you know, and maybe show a picture of your bookmark or whatever it is that you had done that week, just to show your backers that you're working and you're not sitting around playing video games, like I mentioned earlier. So, okay. I think I have covered what I wanted to say. If there's anything else you guys had to say. Gerald Lang says, I think an issue with some of the guys is they spend too much time building a personality to sell their books instead of focusing on the character in the story first. Let the work sell the book. Yeah, there is truth to in crowdfunding. Now, this is my take on it is that, and I tell this to other people, that your name, you know, Chuck and I, we crowdfunded something back in 2015, our first Joe Frankenstein book, and it did terrible. I mean, I think we raised maybe $5,000. We didn't raise enough to pay for printing, and we thought our names would carry the day. You know, we were hot off of Batman and creating Bane and all that kind of stuff, and we thought that would do it. You know, that our work would. You know, everybody knows our work. You know. No problem. We'll just this will fund itself. It isn't like that. It isn't like that. You have to get your face out there to people, and you have to make them fall in love with you. If they fall in love with you, they're willing to give something that you produce a shot. If they hate you, you're not going to back them. If you can't stand somebody, you're not going to buy their work. I mean, it has to be so, you know. I don't like Barbara Streisand, but she's a beautiful singer. You know, I mean, she just keep her mouth shut. So you have to get out there and do this kind of stuff. You have to, and it helps if you have a personality. You know, you shouldn't have to create one, because once you do it long enough, the real you is going to come out, and it's really important that you convey that to your backers and to fans and people that are watching you, that you're honest and genuine and not disingenuous and full of shit. Because if they think that you are that way, then they're not going to back you. They think you're shifty, you know, and you're pulling a grift or something. So it's not for everybody. You know, not everybody has that personality to do this kind of stuff. But you can develop it, you know, if you're willing to a certain degree. To some people it comes naturally, you know, but it is important. You know, it can't be just the work itself. You know, the work itself will keep them coming back. But this kind of thing, in the selling of it, is really important to get them to bite on it. Once you got them hooked, then you're good. If your product's good. Jasper Plan 9 says this is a spicy topic, Graham. Spicy topic. Graham is the perfect ambassador for crowdfunding. Oh, thank you. Bad, hot, and ready books are already at the LCA. Bad, hot, and ready books. That must be somebody else's book. Bad, hot, and ready are already at the local comic shop. Well, good. Oh, bad, hot, and ready. Okay, it's not a title. I get it. I'm a little slow and I'm a little old, so. Jer Bear Man Cave says he'll wait for quality. That's good. Creators appreciate that. They appreciate patience. Stat Zero is here. Hi, Stat. Giant Size Two-Fisted Manly Tales remains a favorite. I still flip through often. Nice. Thank you. Southern Cecil. How's it going, bro? Okay, Michael Deach says, I put myself on a backing hiatus until I receive all the late books I'm waiting for. Started to feel like a chump from some of these guys. Yeah, I understand how you feel. The only problem is you're going to miss good books, the ones that deliver, by putting yourself on a hiatus. I would just say, that money's allocated. You've already done it. Hopefully, the stuff will show. But you want to make sure you get on the good stuff too from the guys that are producing regularly and delivering on time. Part of it too is you gotta figure out a fulfillment system too. It's not enough that you just produce the books and get them shipped to you. Now you got to get them out to people, and that requires a lot of work, a lot of logistics. And if you can hire somebody or have somebody help you, that'll definitely go a long way. Or use a service. There are fulfillment centers that you can use for a fee. It can be expensive depending on how big the campaign was, but it'll help you get stuff out faster too. I've used fulfillment teams before, and then Julie came to work for me. My wife had lost her job working at a doctor's office, and I'd been wanting her to work with me for a long time, and it was sort of forced upon her, and it was the best thing we ever did, because she is so good at logistics and organization. She downloads the CSV files with every backer and every perk level and all that kind of stuff, and parses it out and gets it into order the way she likes to ship and stuff like that. And that's really important, organization like that, and getting that set up for yourself before the books, actually come in. Craig Speck says, I love how, because people have to agree with one side or another of this stupid argument, they act like quality books can't be on time. Well, that's true. They can be. Again, if it's going to take you a year and a half to do it, then just say that, put that in there. This campaign is starting in January of 2024, and it'll be ready in June of 2025. That way, when people decide they're going to back it, they know. And again, make sure you deliver it when you say, especially if you're going to give yourself that much time. Oh, Frag is in here. Hi, Dan. I hadn't seen you yet. I talked to Dan today, and he said he was going to be here, and glad to see it. it's a learning curve when you first get into this stuff, particularly if you didn't work for Marvel and DC and had regular monthly on a monthly book with where it was deadline. There's a lot of plates you got to keep spinning in this world, this crowdfunding comics world. And it's about, understanding your own limitations, getting people to help you so that the limitations part is mitigated and you can focus on the strengths. That's a huge key, is do what you do best. Let other people, if possible, do the other stuff. And just always keep that train moving forward. Keep it going to it pulls into the station, and the station is fulfillment. See if there's anything in here of great import. Skip Edwards said a lot of creators are doing other projects after collecting money, as if a backer's money is less valuable than another creator or a bigger channel. I don't know if that is the case, but I will tell you one thing is that sometimes people crowdfund something and they don't monetize. They don't hit numbers they need to hit, but now they're committed to doing it. So they really don't have the money collected to spend the time to do the thing, and so they move on to other things. That's a problem too. It's hard to, if you didn't raise the capital, you really should think hard and fast about just refunding it, because you're only going to hurt your own reputation if you decide you're going to do something better later on. Citizen Ronan says Frege has been very honest about being late and giving refunds if people want them. That goes a long way. Well, Dan's a stand-up guy. He's a bro, and I know he always does the right thing. Maybe made a few mistakes going forward and estimating how long it was going to take him. We talked a little bit about that today. Styles, sometimes styles, can slow you down depending on what kind of style you're working in. Back in the day with the monthly periodical deadlines that Marvel and DC had, there's a reason why Jack Kirby modified his style and John Buscema modified his style, and John Romita Jr. is a perfect example of developing a style that's not only sellable and exciting, but is you can turn the stuff out quickly, which is really important when you were making a page rate, particularly for the older guys, made a page rate with no royalties. So you had to turn that stuff out fast. Now Neil was fast, but he also had an advertising agency where he really made his coin. And so, he had other things, and then his comics would be late. That's why you never saw 3 or 4 Neil Adams comics in a row on Batman or Detective Comics, because it just wasn't paying him to do it. And he was for the style that he draws in, he was unbelievably fast too. Eric G, meaning Eric the Guapo, I believe. I'd encourage you to give Aaron Lopresti the interest of your eye. His work has been stellar, high quality, with many and often updates to the campaign. He's wonderful. The stories are great. Another great bro who delivers on time and who delivers amazing products. Ooh. Spaceman, hey Graham, smoked a brick house, Connecticut last night. Good smoke. Nice. I wish the weather was nice enough to go outside and have one right myself. I'm still mad I got all the copies of Cash Grab I backed. Chris Thacker says, Gray, I can't say it enough, Graham. Communicate often. How do you really feel? Here's some inside baseball. My brother, your Irish Cat is going to be a little late from Dublin. Just a hair. It's going to take way too long to go into, folks. So we'll just chuckle. Wiley Draws says a lot of divas in the comic biz. Unfortunately, the indie scene has become as bad as the mainstream. Depressing. Well, you have to think about it like this. The indie community is basically made up, and I don't mean this in a mean sense, but amateurs. There's a lot of amateurs in here, and in the old days, the indie scene came about because they did either the kind of work that the paying companies wouldn't publish, or they just weren't that good. But maybe they had a good idea. And it's the same today with indie. There's a lot of stuff you can scroll through Indiegogo or Kickstarter and see, a lot of projects that are out there that just, they're poorly drawn. I haven't read them obviously because they're funding, but they're amateurish looking, and so you have to go through the weeds. It's unfortunate. The days of where you could pick up any book from Marvel or DC and you would at least be guaranteed a level of professionalism. Those are gone because they're the least professional anymore. But you have people in the indie scene that are passionate about it, even if their skill levels aren't that high. So I wouldn't say it's depressing. I would just say, you just gotta search it out, find the stuff that interests you. Stat Zeros has been waiting for Escape from Monster Island since 2019. Well, it's coming, my friend. Now that I'm getting Return to Monster Island back under the Compass Comics banner, we're going to do the third part of the trilogy. And I'm really excited about it because Monster Island is not the linchpin, but the standard bearer of Compass Comics. I started it in 1998, and that was the first book that I published. And I've got a real love for those characters and that concept and stuff, and I can't wait to revisit them again. No, you're my hero, French Baron. I told you that today. Christian Zaffo, is the first Monster Island still available? Yes, it is. The actual first printing, 1998's version of Monster Island, in limited quantities, is available on the Compass Comics website. So you just got to go to compasscomics.com and you'll see it there. But there's not a ton of them left. I've kind of, I've got them put into an inventory thing so that when it hits a certain number, it'll cut off because, it's from 1998. It's not, I happened to find some boxes of them and I put them up on the site, and, but that's all there is. Nubintas, any plans on doing any conventions this year, Graham? Hi there, and thank you for that 4.99 super chat. It is much appreciated. I am not. Um, I did a bunch of conventions last year, and there was a period there where I was doing a lot of them. Uh, but again, uh, for me, meeting deadlines is key, and so um, I'm not unless it's some special con like some buddies of mine are going to be at, or it's a great destination one. I don't have any scheduled yet. I would like to go back to Garden State Art Festival again, where we do my cigar and Hawaiian shirt night. That was a blast. That's always a fun one, and I can drive to that. Um, so that's one that I would like to do, but I don't have anything on my docket right now. Well, thank you, Richard. That's very kind of you. The fact that there are full-time and part-time creators doing things under the crowdfunding model can be problematic when there are discussions about traditional versus the crowdfunders. Well, it doesn't matter to me if they're full-time or part-time as long as they make their deadlines, and deliver when they say. Some people can't afford it yet. They're starting out. They don't have name recognition or a track record or have ever worked for the big two. But they're passionate about it, and maybe they're working, at Big Lots or some other store, box store, or something like that during the day, and they can only work on it at night. That shows true passion and dedication, and I say hats off to those guys. You know, I have one guy that claims he fulfilled, but I never got it. So we'll see how that dice rolls. Um, when I ship books out, I send the backers the tracking number so that they know it was shipped. So hopefully there's a tracking number for you so that you can actually see where it was shipped to and if it was shipped. Graham, I found the original Monster Island at my half-price books for $12 in the glass cabinet. Wow, you got a deal. I just got the book Claptrack from Dan Richmond. No, it's not Dan. Which I bought when he was a guest on Graham's channel, Tom Richmond, in 2020. I just got it too. It just came, I think, yesterday. I haven't opened it up yet, but I've been looking forward to that. I did when I was at the Tampa show. I actually sat next to Tom. We were sitting next to each other, and I got to see some of the. He was still working on his iPad, and he showed me some of the pages from it. It looked great. Artists just need to explain that it's going to take 3 to 4 years to finish a project as a warning to backers. It seems the deadline that is put into Indiegogo was pointless. It shouldn't take 3 to 4 years to do anything, as far as a comic book goes. But I appreciate what you're saying. Yeah, Henry, that's what I'm saying. Appreciate authenticity, be honest, and open. Julian says, I have a great work ethic. Yeah, I'm not the greatest artist in the world, but I'll work harder than anybody. I'll outwork you. The dude, you got to have a character to be fun. make a good book and be on time. Everything that's really hard to do. It is hard. Well, hello there. I like Marcus's avatar there. Actually, that piece of original art is hanging up right over on that wall. It was from the outside cover of Detective 700. Hello, fellow New Yorker. You know I'm a diehard fan of your bat work, but your best stuff is being made now. Your updates are great for transparency and to build excitement. Keep it up. Thank you, Marcus. Hope to see you this summer. One of the problems is how the books are being advertised. The creators are producing graphic novels, which typically are larger and take 1 to 3 years to come out, but are advertising selling comic book. Again, it comes down to being honest with yourself, in your productivity levels. How fast can you turn it out? What's a graphic novel? It's sort of just a highfalutin way to say comic book with more pages. My books typically are what DC used to call prestige format. So they're what called perfect bound books, a minimum of 64 pages, could be 72, could be 80, or higher, but I still get them done on time. Art of Roy, very talented artist there. At what point will some CGers move to the production line model of writer, artist, inker, colorist, letterer? Seems that inker position would cut some time, maybe. Well, I know Aaron is using Matt Ryan to ink his book. Thing is Aaron's pencils are super tight for Matt, so now you got to spend more time doing tight pencils. Like when I do my own work, I pencil, solidly, but I don't put in all the blacks and stuff, and I'll make indicate or put a shade somewhere. I don't feather it and all that in my pencils, and then I do the drawing. I draw it with the ink so that there's an organic look to it. That doesn't. You don't you don't squeeze out the energy from the drawing by getting all constipated with the inks. And personally, I like that. I like having full control. That's the thing about the cartoonists that I always admired were the guys that were the singer songwriters, the writer artists. And I get the most joy out of seeing my words on a drawing that I did, personally, so, I did the production line thing forever, and I wanted to get away from that, and I'm glad, and now I am, and don't really want to go back to that. Kenneth Roquefort, very talented artist. Is one of the exceptions to the rule. His art sells his books, plus he has a great and loyal fan base. Yeah, Kenneth was much more current than me at DC Comics. I was long gone before he started there. So he has an active fan base. Younger people too, because he was working on some big books. And that's great. Good question. Smokey the Concat. Hey, Graham, can you also explain some about how funds can and get used on a campaign? Well, the funds are collected and they are used for production, i.e., penciling, inking, lettering, coloring. The same monies raised are used for materials, boxes, poly bags, backing boards, tape, stickers that go on the outside, print labels, packing material, bubble wrap, that kind of stuff. Shipping, freight, when the books are shipped to the fulfillment center, um, fulfillment costs, and then what's left over is what would be the profit for the creator. But basically what it's doing is, if it's taking you 6 months, you're using part of that money to pay your daily bills, pay, keep the lights on, pay the mortgage, put food on the table, all that kind of stuff while you're working on it. And then you got to make sure you got enough to handle the other stuff. And that is, the production and shipping and fulfillment stuff. I don't know why more creators don't update their Indiegogo page, even if it's just a single paragraph. I rarely hear about updates if a creator announces it on a live stream. Yeah, it really behooves the creators to do that. Once a week. You don't want to inundate people with emails from Indiegogo about updates. But once a week is fine. Just to even once every other week, if you're in between, if the campaign's closed and you're busy with the formatting of files and getting them ready for the printer. That's not a lot of sexy stuff to talk about. So then you could push it back to 2 weeks if you had to. But at least you're communicating, and that's important. It says I've got your money, and it's being well spent, and you're going to get this great book soon. Well, yes and no, Richard. Comic books are periodicals and come out on a monthly to bi-monthly basis. They're not the same thing. That's why graphic novels are self-contained stories where comics usually aren't. But they are. There used to be plenty of self-contained stories in comics. Just because they were monthly or bi-monthly, that was just the distribution network that dictated that. It's about volume. And the stories were all self-contained up until Marvel started doing continuing stories. Oh, I take that back. Captain Marvel Adventures in the 1940s, they did a serial, which was a continuity story. The monsters, what's it? The monster something of evil, where the world's wickedest worm, Mr. Mind, that ran for a bunch of issues. So. Yeah, it did. They have been doing that a while, but most of them were self-contained prior to that. Graphic novel, again, is sort of a pretentious way of saying thicker comic, maybe with better production values, but it's still a comic book. Howard Chaykin and I agree on that. We don't like that production, that pretentious name of, it's a graphic novel. It's a comic book. It's a thick comic book with, a nice cover on it. Nothing wrong with that. Here in the Steadfast is cool waiting, as long as his creator is honest and gives him quality books. Eric Medved, thank you, sir, for that $10 super chat. I have the hardbacks of the 2 Monster Island books. Those are the ones that Ominous Press published. Any plan to make the new one a hardback? Love the collected universe. There are 2 CGK that are very late. CGK that are very late with books, but waiting can be tough. To answer your question, Return to Monster Island and Escape from Monster Island will be in my traditional Compass Comics format, the perfect bound. But then once Escape is out, there'll be an omnibus collecting all the Monster Island books together with all the goodies and backstory and sketches and the origin of how it all came about and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be a nice big fat hardcover. Indeed, I love the paperweight with giant-sized two-fisted manly tails. It's on our. That's not a paperweight. That's a trophy. It's on our fireplace mantle in the living room. That's awesome. Brian Norton says, "Hail Graham and chat. Interesting topic to discuss." Alpha Suma, thank you for that $20 super chat. That is a good cigar. Cigar Wars took 6 years for 3 hits. Twilight 4 years for 5. Not sure which had a greater effect on pop culture. I would say Star Wars, but the Mr. Eric July. Hey, brother, how are you? And I'm trying. Oh, wait a minute. Black Ice. 304 watching and only 185 likes. Let's get those numbers up. That's it. Smash that like button. People, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. And that way you'll get updates or notifications when I'm going live on shows and stuff. Warren Price Ray has a question. Howdy, Graham. What is the difference between printing on your own versus fulfillment centers? Well, Warren, they're two separate things. The printing, you as the publisher will handle. You'll deal with the printer or a print agent and handle the processes, the paper, the ink choices, the printing style, the extras that are going to go into it, whether it's a spot UV or a special type of cover, glow in the dark, whatever. Those are the things you'll deal with the printer and print runs. Fulfillment center, that's when the books are done. They go to the fulfillment center and they handle all the shipping, the packing and the shipping and getting them out to the customers. That's the difference between those two. Well, I just saw that one. I don't know if there was another one. If there was another one, I did not see that one. Women keep you guys in line, Graham. Well, in my case, that's true. I have 3 daughters and a wife. My daughters are all grown, though. And then I got a grandchild that's going to be a girl, too, coming in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm surrounded by estrogen. Thank God I've got giant-sized two-fisted manly tails to read to keep my T levels up. Geek Avenger says, Aaron Lopresti, Graham Nolan equal good books on time. Thank you. Mr. Boom, my dude. Now, what's this? Dan Cotter says Brandon Sanderson has a great model as far as keeping his fans updated on his work progress. Not surprising, he broke records on Kickstarter with $42 million. I never heard of him. Does he do comics? I think I'd have heard of a $42 million crowdfunded comic. Put it in the chat. Let me know who that guy is. I guess he's an author. Probably with a, large following. Well, Cole King says late but with good quality and communication is always forgivable. Bad quality, even if it's on time, is hard for me to come back from. That's understandable. All right. The very talented Anthony Gonzalez Clark says, my wife finally came around to managing my day-to-day, has been helping me with my scheduling, and I have been getting work done on time. Wives really have a knack for bossing us around. I didn't hear that. Sean Ferris, thank you for that very patriotic 1776 super chat. A lot of us knew CG creators at the big two. There you guys did over 200 pages a year. People are getting upset because they pay up front and they get less than half that very late. Too much social media. That could be true. That could be true. The social media aspect is a big part of it. When you're crowdfunding and getting the word out, and as I said earlier, getting your personality out there, and making people fall in love with your project and you, very important. But it does cut into the day, so that's what I'm saying. When I was working for DC on a monthly, I'd get a script, I would dive right into it, and I knew I had like 4 weeks to do it, and then the next script would be there, and I'd dovetail into that. I didn't have to wear other hats. I didn't have to worry about printing and fulfillment and ordering materials, and promoting and all that kind of stuff. That's what DC was supposed to do. So it takes a lot off your plate. But when you're doing it all yourself, you're doing it all yourself. And you gotta factor that into your day, and you have to factor that into the amount of time it takes you to produce. So when I was penciling at Marvel and DC, I could my comfortable rate was a page and a half a day, but I could do two. If there was a deadline crunch, and three if it was an emergency. But 1.5 pages a day was my goal. So what was that? 10 pages a week? No, eight pages a week, something like that. When I'm doing my work now for Compass Comics, I'm lucky I can get 3 pages, 2 to 3 pages done a week. But that's because, I'm writing it, penciling it, and inking it too. So if I can get 3 pages done in a week, that's a good week. Is this a masterclass, Graham? Yes, it is. I hope you all are taking notes. Hello, Charlies. It's good to see you back in the streams again. Yeah, yesterday's Professionals was a fun show. We had a good time with that. We had some fun conversations after the show too. That was very interesting. Let's see here. Well, Chris is right. It does come down to overestimating your abilities or speed. Bear says he hopes I'm having a good night. I am. I'm having a fun time. I'm talking about comics, things that I'm passionate about, and I'm doing it with with people that share that passion. So I don't know how you get much better than that. Oh, Fox Mulder, again, thank you. Another $20 super chat. That, sir, is a good cigar. Purchase the original Monster Island. Plan on getting reprint. Is anything added to this version? You establish a legendary reputation from your time in the industry and have only continued living up to that high bar. Well, thank you, sir. That's very kind of you. Planning on getting the reprint. Anything added to this version? Well, Return to Monster Island is not a reprint of Monster Island. Return to Monster Island was originally published by Ominous Press in it was 5 years ago. But now the IP is coming back to Compass Comics, so I'm reprinting it under the Compass Comics banner, like the original Monster Island. And then when Escape comes out, that'll be under the Compass Comics banner, so that the original series will be all printed under the Compass Comics banner, and then the omnibus will collect it all. So technically, Return is a reprint, yes, but it's a reprint of it's not a reprint of Monster Island. So it's Monster Island, Return to Monster Island, Escape from Monster Island. I hope that makes sense. Oh, Jack. There's no Jack was a machine, He didn't even lay stuff out. I've heard stories that he starts in the upper left-hand corner and just kept going. He was a genius, in how he could visualize stuff and crank it out. The story is that he did Captain America 112, I think it was. It was in between the Steranko run. Steranko had muffed the deadline, and Stan called Jack and said, I need this Captain America story. Well, when do you need it? Monday, and it was Friday. So he worked over the weekend, and he got the whole damn book done. It's mostly like splashes and pinups and stuff like that, but there's no shortage of detail, and it's great Kirby. It's that professionalism that I always loved. Those guys, that they rolled up their sleeves and they got their shit done, even though they weren't getting paid a lot of money, because they really cared about the work. Henry Bemis is reminding you gently that 350 people are watching. Remember to hit that like and subscribe. Kirby and Buscema would laugh at these ridiculous delays. They would also cry that they didn't have the freedom that I have. Anthony Gonzalez Clark, with My Sister Suprema, I really held back my usual style, even though my super detailed style may creep in from time to time. If you guys haven't checked out My Sister Suprema, it's written by Chuck Dixon, drawn by Anthony. Great series. It's on ArcToons. I believe it's ArcToons. And Anthony's going to be drawing Joe Frankenstein, the Eye of Ra, the third Joe Frankenstein book. Very talented artist. Can't wait to see what he does. Dan Pleagle says, my book has been delayed because the type of coloring that's been done on the book, and that I ended up getting diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. Oh, gosh. Slowly slowing down my books for delivery. Well, those are all very acceptable reasons, Dan. And I'll definitely say a prayer for you and hope that, you're granted, God's strength and healing touch, and that you're back on your feet soon. Oh, Charlie's, that's very sweet of you. Thank you for that $9.99 sterling pound. I I hold my hand up that I'm late, but we decided to tell the story comprehensively. We had to add another 30 pages. Well, that'll do it. My backers have been amazing when I update, and I never go radio silent. Love CG too much. Oh, that's awesome. Again, you're communicating and you're giving them more value. You're adding pages to it. So that's always an acceptable reason. Dan says that the fans have been very acceptable and understanding of his situation. He loves them for it. Excellent. Dan's book is here. It's in the chat. So if you guys want to, just go over there and take a look at it. I think you'll be very surprised. Okay, let's see here. Just call me insane. The indie scene is still great. Ignore the noise. There's hundreds of fantastic people out there. Huzzah! Huzzah! Very true. My super chats are backed up like a busy airport, Graham. I'm getting there. What I'm doing is scrolling. I'm just scrolling down, catching up. But you know what? Maybe I better check that. Let's go to our start here. All right, here we go. Dr. Mask, hail Graham, thanks for always delivering. I got burned on my first crowdfunding, but luckily the Shinu was my second. Shinu prequel then? Prequel when? Yes, there will be Shinu 77. I suspect it'll probably be in 2025 because I got to do Escape from Monster Island first, and then I'll do Shinu. But thank you, sir. Nordman, thank you for that $4.99 super chat. Graham, I know you probably said it a million times, but what books do I need to order? I have Frankenstein pre-ordered Matacumba. Okay. If you go to compasscomics.com and go to the store, you'll see all the books that preceded it. So there's the Shinu, Alien Alamo, and Giant Size Two-Fisted Manly Tales. And the original Monster Island, if you don't have that one yet. So those are the 4 that you'll need to get. And thank you so much. Jasper Plan 9, thank you for that $9.99 super chat. Thanks for doing this, Graham. Us backers need a place to vent. That's not a fan channel. I wish I had more to give. I'm getting hand surgery in 9 days. Oh, well, take care of yourself, bro. And be well, and thank you again for your support and for your super chat. Do you miss the newsprint floppies? I really like the Alterna uses newsprint for their books. If I ever did a book, I think I'd consider it. I'm sort of on the fence on that. Newsprint is cool. It's not very stable. When I look at my books, the Perfect Bound books that are on between 65 and 80 pound paper, with a coated stock, it's just it seems more valuable, more real, more tangible, if that makes sense. The truth is the printing processes are changed. So even if you're using the newsprint, the format in which they're printed, the type of plates that are used and the color choices and stuff, even if there is a dot pattern, don't look like old comics, because the dot pattern is a lot tighter because you can do more colors and it's a better printing press. So I would have to say the answer is no. I don't miss it now that I've thought about it out loud. Kino reviews for a $4.99 super chat. 3 to 5 pages a week is a feat in itself. Hope to see you again and at the next con. Okay, good to see you. Look forward to seeing you too. And you can bring more Florida cigars. True Believer for a $5 super chat. Thank you. I don't care how long it takes to get a book. Just be upfront about it. We all know these aren't monthly books. True. Yep. That's what I'm saying. Hot Dice for $4.99. Love meeting you at Garden State Comic Fest. I could tell right away you're a good dude. Hope I get to shake your hand again. Well, thank you, Hot Dice. That's a fun show. I love that show. Billy Tucci, that name sounds familiar. I seem like I should know this guy, but I'm not good with names. Well, thank you, Mr. Tucci, for that $10 super chat. There are so many unforeseen circumstances that can delay a book, but communication is key. It's also that these projects are personal to us and we want to deliver our very best. Fans deserve that. Huzzah, sir. Huzzah. True Believer, thank you for the $2. If you like good cigars, look at Drew Estate. Yeah, I like a lot of Drew Estate. I had one of their it's the one something of the dead, and it has like a girl like skull face on it, with a Madura wrapper, and I believe it has like a cherry infusion on the wrapper. They're little short ones, really good. Just had one the other day. Glad you're enjoying it. Thank you. World of Conan for €2. Thank you. Will the Metacumba shirts be available again? No, they will not. Those are made to order for the campaign. I over order a few, just in case there's a problem with sizes or they get lost or something. But there's not a lot of them. I'll have to see what's left afterwards. And again, we're limited to whatever size is left too. All right, so I finally got caught up on those. Let's go back to live. Not you, Graham, but Cecil had a point last night that generally artists can be sensitive and a tad dramatic. You think? A lot of guys didn't, do a lot, when they were younger. I always felt, and my mom and dad pushed us too, when I told them I was going to be an artist, they're like, oh, geez. My dad was a homicide cop. My mom was a teacher. But they always made sure that I stayed grounded and was interested in things and did things, played sports, that kind of stuff. And I find a lot of artists didn't do that. Thank you, Henry, for putting that in there. Naobi Comics, we here are proud of our track record for fulfillment. Excellent. Hey, you know what? A rising tide lifts all boats, and the more of us that do this and produce good product and produce it on time and deliver it, the happier backers are, and the more likely they are to come back to you and to try other people as well, people that are recommended by the ones that made them happy in the first place. So the same is true. The converse is true, is that, a couple bad apples can really ruin it. There's been some folks here we've been talking to tonight that say, I've sworn off, backing any more projects, or I'm limiting it to, this, that, and the other. When, so that hurts us all, so we really have to do better about assessing our abilities and getting the work done and on time. James, yes, Ghosts will be available for purchase. Once all my backers are fulfilled, it'll go on the Compass Comics website. You'll pay a little more for it because the backers get the best price and they get all the goodies. So just a heads up, it sounds like you missed this campaign. So make sure you hop on the next one, Return to Monster Island. So you get the best price and you get all the goodies that come with it. And then you can get caught up on the website and everything that goes back on there, for folks that missed the campaign. Chris Boitano, good catching your stream. Question: why don't CG creators cultivate more of a fan fiction community around their comics? The free flow of storytelling and imagination would make a great marketing tool. Cultivate more of a fan fiction community. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Around their comics. I suppose each creator has their rabid fan base. Maybe it's a question of the content that it doesn't lend itself to fan fiction stuff. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm postulating. Matt Cisco grabbed my last copy at Garden State and knew I'd regret it if I didn't. Much appreciated. Graham, would you work with foreign publishers to publish in other languages your works if the offer was right? Yeah, I'd consider it. The more people that read it, the better. I just don't know what's involved in the translation and the sending of files and the legal aspects of it too. Oh, Charlie's had a broken ankle, but I'm getting back into everything. So come on the channel soon and chat. Will do, Charlie's. Heal up, girl. Oh, Nerdrotic and the gang are going to be at MegaCon? Oh, damn, I can't go to MegaCon this year. My grandbaby is supposed to be born that weekend. So, tough luck for me. $30 a signature? No, I don't charge $30 a signature. I don't even charge $30 for CG signatures, I don't think. I charge $5. But if you think I can get 30, what do you think of this? Draw or do layouts for a 30-page comic in 1 month. Refine and ink next month, then have it colored and lettered. Well, it sounds great on paper. If you can keep that pace. Yeah. Yeah, that was a great one. Garden State was a great con. Holy cow, I can't believe how many people are in here tonight. Must have been a good topic. Ooh, Jake Blue says we need the bros to come to the Atlanta Comic Con. First round of cigars at Rocky Patel's Burn on Me. Ooh, nice. I would do that. My daughter and my brother actually live in Atlanta, so that's a good excuse. Kelly Jones always says the best work happens when you're under pressure and have to get the project done. With crowdfunding, it's a personal discipline that's missing. Uh, that's not wrong. Some of the best work does come when you have a deadline. Most artists are terrible when they don't have a deadline because they lose focus and they get excited about something new and different. There's too much space in between the work. Sometimes it's a lot easier to roll up the sleeves and really roll into it and get momentum going on something and really dig it out. Kelly's absolutely right. And I try to do that, like when I, like I'll take a break from any kind of streaming and won't go on like the Kings or do interviews and stuff like that, so that I can buckle down and just focus on the art and really get into that groove again. I can work quicker but more efficiently. Sometimes when you have no deadline, you get in your own way. You get into your head and you overthink things. You're like, oh, this has to be the perfect thing. It doesn't have to be a perfect thing. It just has to be good. It has to tell the story you're trying to tell. It has to present the mood you're trying to get across. And there's just like baseball. If you strike out, you're going to be up next inning. If you got a panel that you're stuck on, get it done and move on. You can always come back to it, but don't labor and beat yourself up. Keep moving, refine. And that's how you move the train and you get it done. Dr. Mass, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Hail Graham, thanks for always delivering. I read that one. Just make sure I don't have any more. How did Bane Conquest come about? Well, that's sort of a long story, which I'm just not ready to get into. I'll tell you one thing, though. Chuck and I had a blast doing that, and we peppered that story with a lot of Easter eggs of where we wanted to go with it. Our goal was to set up Bane as the Doctor Doom of the DC universe. That was the edict that was given to us, and we set him up. We got him involved with apocalyptic weapons and the Kirby creatures from Apocalypse, and we had a lot of really cool shit we wanted to do with that. And DC didn't want to hear it. They stopped returning calls. Kelraiser, $9.99 super chat. Thank you. Love indie horror comics. You and Aaron are inspirations to me. I'm working on my own contemporary Gothic horror series. Cool. I'm developing a traditional Gothic horror folklore history for the U.S. Well, best of luck to you. Take some of the notes or take some of the advice I threw out tonight about getting things in place ahead of time and understanding, your own shortcomings and, honor your backers. Luso American, greetings, Graham. Really enjoyed Joe Frankenstein 1 and 2. Looking forward to Ghosts. Great work. Well done, sir. Thank you. Oh, nice. Black Ice backed Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones' Dracula book because of me. I love how you create quality entertainment and bring attention to other greats. Thank you. You got to give back. You got to share. Help each other. Graham is trying to make deeper, less mass-produced assembly line work. That's why I love waiting for these creators. Yeah, it's true. comics is one of the few mediums in which you can express yourself individually. With art, with words and pictures. A movie has many fathers, but a comic really could only have one, and that is really unique and cool. All righty. Well, Trumpy's going to be on tonight in a town hall on Fox. I want to see. Sure, I got all my super chats covered. So far, so good. I can't thank you guys enough for coming in here and for blowing off a little steam and sharing your thoughts on this, because it's a very important thing. And we're all in this together. I mean, we can't do it without you guys. And it's here's a good question from Eric. Any plans on doing another Two-Fisted Manly Tales? I would love to, Eric, is the short answer. The long answer is it was very expensive to do. It wasn't very profitable. As gorgeous as it was and as much fun as it was, and as much needed that I felt that it needed to be out there, I just can't see. I mean, it would really have to fund a lot better. I mean, it did good. It did, 132K, I think, is what it raised. But I had 10 artists and 5 writers that had to be paid, plus letterers, colorists, all that kind of stuff. And then the hardcover printing, which I upgraded for free, all took a lot out of it. There wasn't much of a profit for it, and it was a lot of work. So I guess the long answer is probably not. Unless I have some campaign that just goes bonkers, and then I can take some of that money and move it over in case the other one doesn't, and basically subsidize it, would be the way to do it. So there's our goal, guys. Let's get this bonkers campaign for Return to Monster Island. Let's get 500,000. I think that's doable, right? If you tell everybody and I tell everybody and everybody goes in on it, I think it's doable. And then we can do another Two-Fisted Manly Tales. I know there's a lot of artists that would like to. Oh my gosh, so many people. Oh, Abra's 2 cents is here. Hello, Abra. Another great lady I met in Tampa. She was at the cigar party. Alpha Suma says he loves that Billy delivers. Billy does deliver. He's another example of a guy that stands behind his product and works very hard to cultivate his backers, and delivers a great product. He's a great guy. You can trust the teen idol, the teen sensation. Yeah, The Bros is your favorite show to watch. Participate. It's because we're really friends, all of us, and we really have a great time. I'm glad that translates. Just blowing through here. Trying to see if there's anything I want to touch on. Is Metamorpho going to be in the Eye of Ra? No, he is not. You caught that, did you, David? You know, when I first created Monster Island, started thinking about the sequels, you know, my goal was to do self-contained stories that connected the same way the Planet of the Apes movies were. You could watch Planet of the Apes and love it. You could watch Beneath the Planet of the Apes and love that, not have seen the first one. You can watch Conquest. Again, they're self-contained, but they're interconnected. And if you've seen them all, you see all the intertwining things, and so there's a lot more stuff to enjoy. But if you haven't, you can still watch it individually and enjoy it on a different level. And that's exactly the way I was trying to do my Nolan verse of comics. You know, somebody could buy one comic and have a nice self-contained story, be entertained, and have a lot of fun. And they don't have to commit and buy other ones. You know, oh, you got to buy the next one, or you got to get this, because, you know, I hated how Marvel and DC did that with that constant, you know, money grab. But if you do buy all these books, you're going to see this interwoven thread of continuity that will establish the universe. And that's what I tried to do. You know, I've been leaving little breadcrumbs, and then with Ghost of Matakumbiki, it'll be clear how, you know, these are all interconnected. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Alrighty, I think. Grave Nolan, my super chat. I'm scrolling down here. Did I miss your super chat? I don't think so. I think I got it. Yeah, I got you. I'm just catching up down. The Chenoo was epic. If any of my stuff gets made into a movie, that should be the first one, because it was written like a movie. You know, it'd be easy to make, wouldn't be too expensive, not a lot of sets. I mean, it'd be a great pitch. As somebody mentioned the smell of comics, and tying that into, do you miss newsprint? Would I like to? That would be the only reason, is so that you know, the stuff I print after, you know, about a year, I could take it out of a box and give it the sniff. You know, I was like, oh man, my comics smell old. That's great. Oh, I'm sorry if I missed you before, Dan Lawless. Good to see you, man. All right, I can't keep scrolling here. There's so much stuff. Everybody's here. Just gotta make sure I got everything. Yeah, got that one. Okay, we're gonna cut this off here. I can't keep scrolling and see all this. It's gonna take us all night. But believe me, I do appreciate it. I love the interaction and all that. Oh wait, this one I do got to show. Congrats on the granddaughter. Hail CG. Yes, indeed. Hail CG. And everybody working really hard in the independent sphere to make great comics. I hope you enjoyed this show. I hope maybe, you know, I gave you a little bit of perspective, and that if you were on the fence, that you're going to come back in and give some of us another try, so you don't miss out on great stuff. Oh wait, here's a friend of mine, and a very loyal backer, Mr. Michael Trigg Lehman. Late to the chat, but if it's about ghosts arriving a bit late, any Nolanverse book is worth the wait. Well, it is already a little late, Trig, but we'll be fulfilling by the end of this month, so it'll be coming soon. But again, thank you everybody so much for coming in here and listening and sharing your stories and your thoughts about this very, very important topic. I don't like all the infighting and stuff that goes on online in these various groups and stuff, and we need to just kind of focus on our books, focus on our IPs, and focus on our backers, and just produce great stuff. And I mean, I'm having the time of my life after 41 years in this business, so I'm not about to do anything to mess that up. So thank you so much. Wait, did I just get another one? Oh, I did. Eric the Guapo, Graham, for $5. Thank you, Eric. World War II book? When? I'm kicking it around. I'm kicking an idea, a horror World War II book. I'm just going to say that right now. It's, something's always turning, I actually thought of a superhero idea too the other day, which came to me in a conversation, which would be very different. But I've said I'm not going to do superhero books, and it's not high on my priority, but it all depends on how I can work that idea out. But a World War II horror thing, yeah, that would fit right into the publishing plan. But again, thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a great night. I hope you keep supporting those independent comics guys and the CG crowd in particular. And we'll see you again soon. Hope you have a good one. And thanks again. Bye-bye now.